Welcome to the JobPack podcast, where we get practical insights from job seekers and professionals in less than 10 minutes. I'm Debashish Mishra, and today I'm pleased to welcome to the show President and Chief Resume Designer Don Rasmussen of Pathfinder Writing and Career Services in Portland, Oregon. Don, welcome, and tell us about yourself.
Thanks for having me, Debashish. I've been writing resumes for about 13 years. So I kind of actually got started right whenever the economic recession happened. And boy, people really need it now, especially during this whole coronavirus time. So it's my passion to try to help people understand how important managing their careers and their career assets. It's really important that they understand how important those things are.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are you seeing right now in the job market?
You know, I've been telling a lot of people, there's hospitality industry, that's kind of my background. There's been, obviously, that industry has been driven to practically a standstill since nobody's really traveling. But I would urge people to start looking at where the money is. And so there's still investment going on. And the Young Presidents Organization did a survey of all of their members. And these presidents identified the areas where growth is happening and also where contraction is happening. And so if someone is currently unemployed right now, it might behoove them to take a look at that survey. It's on their website, Young Presidents Organization, so they can see where the arrows are pointing as far as investment and growth, because it is happening. And it may require a pivot, and understanding how to pivot is going to be very important.
Yeah. And in this kind of climate, how do you think successful job seekers really stand out to prospective employers?
You know, it always goes back to a couple things. Networking is going to be critical. So understanding and the importance of building meaningful relationships. And I mean this not just going on LinkedIn and saying, I'd like to add you to my network kind of thing. That's not starting a conversation. Networking is all about building relationships and conversations. So networking is important. Also looking at your resume and understanding how is that telling about value. A lot of people will just dump their resume into their resume, a job description, and that doesn't say anything about your ability to actually get results. And right now it's a buyer's market. So employers specifically are looking for people that deliver value, how you made money, save time, increased value. Any of those things, you have to add measurable metrics into your resume to show how you're good at what you do versus just stating I'm really good or an expert at something.
Yeah, absolutely. I find a lot of people struggle with that, especially turning the resume into more of like, here's a list of what I do, as opposed to here's a list of things that I accomplished.
And it's important, I might interject too, that a lot of people feel a little uncomfortable talking about their accomplishments, but here's what I like to repivot how to really discuss this. You need to think about how you helped. Instead of feeling uncomfortable about, quote, boasting about what you did, if you start putting it in the context, well, how did you help the company? That's a totally different mindset, and it's a lot easier to discuss. And so that's where you need to wrap your arms around those metrics too. Yeah,
absolutely. It makes a ton of sense. What's the best advice you'd give to job seekers right now?
Have hope. Things are going to eventually come back around. There are jobs out there. It may require that you need to step out of your industry. As I mentioned before, I've been in the hospitality industry before, and that industry is driven to a standstill, but there are ways to look at your transferable skill sets and shift into a different area. It doesn't mean that you have to do that forever. It may not be something you're totally in love with doing, but is a way to think, if you think of it as a stretch assignment right now to go do something different just to pay the bills, it could also be positively something that'll add more skills to your knowledge base. So then you can, when your industry recovers and you step back into it, you're going to be even more qualified. So there are opportunities. You may need to shift those skill sets, but there is hope. And so you just have to be very persistent and persevere. And really, again, you got to get into that networking frame of mind too. You just can't apply online. There's only about 2% chance that you can actually get an interview if you're only applying online. If you're actually networking, it goes up to 50%. That's statistical research from Career Crossroads that they produced.
Oh, that's outstanding. I that resonates for me a lot. I think the networking was much more successful for me in getting interviews than just the application. And just out of curiosity, what was your first job?
Oh gosh, my first job, I guess if you were to count it, I was actually in the high school cafeteria. I was helping out the cafeteria ladies.
Oh, no
Back when I
kidding.
was in middle school, I went up to the high school. So I was working, I think, as early as 15. So yeah.
Well, it's amazing the trajectory that you've gone from your start in the cafeteria.
Yeah. And I've had several career changes myself that have been pretty large pivots too.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much, Dawn, for coming onto the show and sharing your insights. Dawn Rasmussen, president of Pathfinder Writing and Career Services in Portland, Oregon. I'll have her information in the show notes if you'd like to get in touch with her. And I also want to thank you for tuning into the podcast. JobPack is a virtual job club that connects job seekers to accelerate job seeking success. Our next session is on February 1st, and you can find out more about it at jobpack.co. And you can subscribe to the podcast there or on other major podcasting platforms. I want to close by reminding you that job seeking is hard. Don't do it alone. Join the pack. See you next time.